So in this spot, we usually have the sermon, but it's often easier to talk about somebody than to talk to somebody. And so this morning, I'm going to speak with somebody. When people ask a rabbi what are their hobbies outside of their rabbinic job, we have plenty of hobbies, but one of my hobbies and passions, as you all know, and all of our clergy, especially at Sinai Temple, is that of Israel. Everything. Not just on October 8th, but on October 6th. And so this past 2 years, actually this past year and a half, one of my hobbies has been as honored part of the Voice of the People Council. I like to say it's the best kept secret of Israel that you're not going to hear about and tell your neighbors and friends and family. It's 150 Jewish leaders of all ages from literally around the world that was actually chosen by an algorithm, and we'll hear about that in a moment. And this morning we are blessed and honored to be in conversation with the CEO of the Voice of the People, Shirel Dagan, who is directly with the President of Israel's Office of President Isaac Herzog. Prior to Shirel's role as Voice of the People, she was a CEO in the high-tech world of Embrace It, a healthcare startup, a VP of Business Development at IBC Optical Fiber Telco Company, and CFO at Maoz, where she focused on enhancing Israel's social economic resilience. A certified lawyer since 2002, graduated from Tel Aviv Law School, began her career at GKH Law Firm, but most importantly, she literally is leading the charge as Voice of the People. So to find out what Voice of the People under President Isaac Herzog is all about and how we at Sinai Temple can be involved, it's an honor to welcome my colleague, my mentor, and now my friend, Shirel Dagan, who will join us to speak about Voice of the People.
Working?
Great. So Shirel and I met in Haifa just over a year ago in March when I was one of the lucky 150 chosen via the algorithm, and we can speak about that. But you've been here for the last 24 hours. You've seen our Sinai Keep Academy. You've seen products of our Sinai Temple Religious School and Ethan and his family. You've seen young and old in Los Angeles. You told me last night that you meet regularly with the President of Israel. And so when you go back to Israel and you meet with the President, and he said, Shirel, what did your Shabbat look like in Los Angeles? What are you going to tell him that you've experienced so far?
I think I'm very, very far away from home, and yet I feel at home. I think it's just amazing being here, seeing so many people that in a second I feel they're my family. It's a first time for me being here, and it's just unbelievable. And for me, that's the first thing I will tell him, that you feel so far away from home, but you feel at home.
And so let's talk about home, because as you say, Israel feels so many kilometers away from here, but it also feels very at home for all of us here as well. And so let's talk about the vision of Voice of the People. When did it come about? And as you talk about pre-October 7th, and what was the necessity for making sure that it really did happen after October 7th? So the definition of the Voice of the People.
So as you mentioned, the idea came right before the war. It was President Herzog initiative to build a global Jewish council comprised of 150 people, 50 from Israel, 50 from US and Canada, and 50 from across the world, to bring new Jewish leaders who will first tackle the most important problems of the Jewish people, to really cultivate the new leadership, a very, very diverse one, and to build this bigger thing called Voice of the People, a community, a network of leaders who work together. And it was a great idea before the war, and it became much more relevant after. And we really built the thing after the war started. So October 7th happened. For 6 months, nothing was done. And then we said, now more than ever, we need this council. And I think that the general idea stayed the same, but the thing that I think changed post-October 7th, that we will be able to really, really bring new, diverse voices. And when I talk about diversity, I mean that in those 150 people, we have people from the age of 19 till 82, people who are totally secular and ultra-Orthodox and everything in between, people who come from business sectors and VCs and high tech, who come from Jewish Federation, education, media content, men and women, people who are, by definition, are entrepreneurs and storytellers and builders and thinkers. And when you bring this kind of diversity into the room, I think that's how we can create something new, bring creativity and innovation to the Jewish world.
And we spoke about this last night. The 3 questions that were asked to identify if you could be part of the council were?
First of all, I need to be above 18, to say that they're Jewish, and to
According
believe
to their definition.
their definition, and to believe that Israel is the state of the Jewish people.
Thankfully, I was able to say yes to all 3.
Lucky us.
Yeah. And so one of the goals of VOP, Voice of the People, it's to ensure the prosperity of Jewish communities in Israel and the diaspora with the council assembled. How have you seen those results so far? And what are you looking for in the year to 18 months ahead when you're already will begin building to council number 2?
So when we thought about the idea, there were like 3 major things. First, as I said, to cultivate the new leaders of the Jewish people, to build this greater thing called Voice of the People community network, but also to come up with actionable solutions. We say in Hebrew, tachlis, with things that can actually change reality and make this world a better world for us. And I think that the most amazing thing that we saw immediately is people, is what's going on just to bring people, leaders who are committed, who are proactive, who want to step up and do things. And I kept telling my team, this train has left the station. Just to see what's going on, the new connection. I mean, look at you, Rabbi Erez, like exemplar of what it is to be a council member, hosting so many people here, connecting with people that you've never known, like 6 months, year ago. And that's what's most amazing, to see this kind of thing starting to build up. And I'm an entrepreneur. And I look 20 years from now. And I want to see this huge community working together with lots of trust and understanding that we are one big family, mishpacha. And when we think of us as mishpacha, I think everything is much easier.
And so when we sat with Rabbi Wolpe yesterday, you asked us, what could you bring home? And for us, what can we walk out of this sanctuary with? Not just saying, wow, that's really a neat project, but what can we do to actively engage with the President's office and Voice of the People?
I think, first of all, to be proactive, to decide that you want to do. I think that the opportunity we got post-October 7th, that we got lots of new voices. People who told me, Shirel, I never dealt with my Jewish identity before, and now it's the most important thing for me. And I know that no one else will do it for me. We need to step up. And I think being part of this, being here for me, just, seeing all of you, it's amazing. We're one. And I think that our diversity is our strength and not our weakness. And to understand, we talk of achnasat orchim, this parasha. And achnasat orchim is a basic thing. And what Abraham did, he was proactive. He could have, just said, wait. And he stepped up to them and said, come, please. And being proactive and understanding that achnasat orchim, everyone can come and join, that's what we do in Voice of the People.
And so that's welcoming guests. When I arrived in Haifa last year, there were 149 other strangers, and it really has become family. So many times over this past 18 months, I said from this bima that we need to fall in love with the Jewish world's problems. In fact, those are not my words. Those are the President's words that have stuck with me and those others. And what I've realized that falling in love with those problems is actually our greatest blessings. Exactly what Ethan told us in his Devar Torah, that to take risks on ski slopes, but also in synagogue, is to make ourselves a little uncomfortable in order to make sure that our blessings can be greater. So is there a blessing that you have seen that 150 strangers have not come together as one? I like to say unity without uniformity. How has that blessing come about, and how has the President seen that?
I think, that we say that when you understand that you are part of the problem, you are also part of the solution. And that's for us is the main thing, to understand that we do have problems. And the past 2 years have been horrifying in Israel and here, and I think it is for each and every Jew around the world. But our strength is, to be able to look to the future and to know that if we can do things together, to keep our different voices, it's okay. We do not need to agree on everything, but we need to know how to respect one another. and to understand that our diversity, again, is a strength. And if we can do it together, I think we can achieve anything that we want.
And so one last VOP question, and then an Israel presidency, sort of inside the look of the Israeli president. Share for this community what's going to happen next. We're in the middle of actually sort of doing VOP Shark Tank. What does that look like, and what can you imagine in a year after some of these projects are chosen that will change the Jewish world?
So as I said, besides of cultivating the leadership and building this huge community, we want to come up with actionable solutions. So the team have been working for the past more than 6 months to tackle those problems of the Jewish people. We came with 5 topics after we asked the people. We said we call the voice of the people, we need to walk the talk. So we went out with survey, and more than 10,000 people had replied in 6 languages across the globe. And that's how we chose the top 5 topics, which are anti-Semitism, Jews and non-Jews relationship, Israel and diaspora relationship, Jewish education, heritage, and polarization and dialogue. So those 150 people are working in 10 groups, 15 people each, with a professional facilitator.
Teammate, it's a good one.
Rabbi Sherman is in teammate, if you didn't notice. So there were each one of them, each 2 groups got a topic, and they went into the research phase to understand, so what's the problem? What's happening out there? Are there any solutions that are working and what's not working? And how can we think of something else in order to tackle those problems? We're reaching now the end of November. When I started, I said, okay, I have 10 groups. I'm probably going to have 10 ideas. So we have 26 ideas from the council, which is unbelievable. And some of them are very, very, very interesting and innovative. So by the end of November, all of the council members and their ideas are going to pitch to a panel of professionals in order to get their idea and to go to the next phase, which will be to really test it, to run pilots in the field, in the Jewish ecosystem, in order to, Be'ezrat Hashem, in June 2026, to present it to the president and to our partners.
And so outside of Voice of the People, as you've told me, you couldn't imagine going from high-tech to literally working one-on-one with the president of Israel. Over these last many years, even days, as remains of hostages have come home, I watched President Herzog go to the funerals, hug these families, meet every victim of 10/7 that he has been able to, and often say the word slicha, I am sorry that your loved one did not come home. On a personal level, what is it like to work with this true angel within our midst in the Jewish people?
I don't even have the words to describe how lucky and humbled I feel to lead this kind of initiative, especially these days, and under the president, of the state of Israel. And I think that's what's so unique in President Herzog, that he sees himself not only as the president of the state of Israel, but the president of the Jewish people. And because of his heritage, being the chairman of the Jewish Agency, and his great father being the first chief rabbi of Israel, he feels that he's responsible to the prosperity of all the Jews around the world. And it's on his term to make sure this will happen. I think for me, working with him is to see what a true leader is. To be able to lead, but also to say sorry, to say slicha. He and the First Lady met each and every family that was hurt during this war. Lots of grief, and then give lots of hope to be able in such days to think of such initiative and to lead voice of the people and to meet with these people and to understand that, again, no one else will do it for us. So it's time for us to step up and to do.
And so, even though I'm one within those 150, know that I'm one of thousands, not just in this room, but of the Sinai Temple community. And the invitation is open when the president arrives in America one day and Los Angeles, that this bima is his, because the people of Israel and the state of Israel is ours as well. And so, as you just mentioned, hope, we're going to, is the cantor there? Just a moment. Cantor, there he is. We're going to rise and we'll recite that national anthem of hope on behalf of Shirel, on behalf of all the victims of 10/7, of those hostages that have come home alive, of those that have not, and most importantly, of the voice of the people, which is all of us, the Hatikva.
Thank you.